The warning unheeded. In the vast expanse of the Andromeda sector, the Valoran Empire stretched across 3,000 star systems. Their technological prowess had subjugated countless civilizations, turning fertile worlds into mining colonies and sentient species into servants. The Empire's expansion knew no moral boundaries, only the practical limitations of faster-than-light travel and the Imperial fleet's reach. High Admiral Thexus stood before the massive holographic display in the command center of the Dominion, the Valorian flagship. His scaled skin glimmered under the blue light as he studied the projection of a small spiral galaxy, the Milky Way. "Your Eminence," he addressed Emperor Valkyx, who sat upon an elevated throne of polished obsidian. "Our long-range probes have identified 17 potential harvest worlds in this previously unexplored galaxy. One, in particular, shows exceptional resource signatures, a blue-green world in a remote spiral arm." The Emperor's 6 eyes narrowed with interest. "Show me." The hologram zoomed in on a small, unassuming planet, mostly covered in water with scattered landmasses. Data streams scrolled alongside it, highlighting mineral deposits, atmospheric composition, and energy readings. "Curious," the Emperor mused, leaning forward. "Such a wealth of resources on one small world. Why has it not been claimed?" Thexus hesitated. "There is a complication, Your Eminence. Our archival probes discovered something unusual in the ruins of the Zinthar system." At a gesture, the hologram shifted to display an ancient structure floating in deep space, a massive obelisk composed of unknown material, covered in luminescent script. Dating algorithms assessed it to be over 8 million years old. "The Zinthar were extinct long before our civilization achieved spaceflight," Thexus explained, "but they left warnings throughout this sector. Most are typical territorial markers, but this one," he enlarged a section of script. "This one specifically mentions the blue-green world. Our linguists have translated it as, 'Beware the third planet of the yellow star. Do not disturb the humans who dwell there. The cosmos has but one rule: never provoke humanity.'" Emperor Valkyx's mandibles clicked with amusement. "A warning? From a dead civilization about a pre-spaceflight species?" "Not just the Zinthar, Your Eminence. We've found similar warnings from 3 other extinct civilizations, all referencing this world and its inhabitants." The throne room fell silent as the Emperor contemplated this information. Then, unexpectedly, he laughed, a harsh, rattling sound that echoed through the chamber. 4 dead empires afraid of primitives. How pathetic. He rose from his throne, towering over his advisors. Perhaps these humans destroyed them through some biological contamination or hidden weapon. No matter. We are the Valorians. We conquered the Hive Collective and the Quantum Dominion. We will not be deterred by ancient superstitions. He gestured to the blue-green world. "Prepare an invasion force. I want this Earth surveyed, its resources cataloged, and its species assessed for labor potential." Thexus bowed deeply, though a sense of unease settled in his core. "As you command, Your Eminence." 3 Valorian scout ships entered Earth's atmosphere under cover of darkness, their advanced cloaking technology rendering them invisible to human detection systems. They dispersed across the planet, observing cities, industrial centers, and military installations. Commander Rexus led the primary reconnaissance team, monitoring human communications and studying their technology. From orbit, the Dominion analyzed the entire planet, mapping resource deposits and population centers. "Primitive but industrious," Rexus reported to High Admiral Thexus. "They've barely reached their own satellite, yet they've spread across their entire world. Their technology is rudimentary: combustion engines, basic electronics, limited nuclear capabilities. No energy shields, no gravitational manipulation, no faster-than-light theory." "And their military capabilities?" Thexus inquired. "Fragmented. They divide themselves by geographical regions called nations. They fight among themselves constantly. Their most advanced weapons are nuclear missiles with limited range, nothing that could threaten our ships. Fexes study the data with growing confidence, and you detect no hidden defenses, no sign of the danger mentioned in the warnings. None, Admiral. They're just humans, bipedal mammals with limited lifespans and fragile bodies. Their only notable trait is their adaptability and reproductive rate. They've spread to nearly every environment on their world. The Admiral nodded, relieved yet somehow disappointed. Prepare the extraction teams. We'll begin with mineral deposits in remote areas, then assess their viability as a labor force. As the Valorian fleet positioned for resource extraction, they remained unaware of the subtle energy fluctuations beginning deep within Earth's core, fluctuations that had not been present before their arrival. The first Valorian mining operation landed in an isolated region of what humans called Australia. Massive ships descended from the night sky, deploying automated extraction equipment and force field barriers. Similar operations began in the Sahara Desert, the Siberian tundra, and the Amazon rainforest, all carefully selected to minimize initial human contact. However, the Valorians underestimated human curiosity and the global surveillance network they had built. Within hours, shaky videos of the alien ships appeared on communication networks worldwide. Governments scrambled to respond, militaries mobilized, and civilians alternated between panic and fascination. The Valorian command was forced to accelerate their plans. Emperor Valkyries, observing from the Dominion, issued new orders. Neutralize their military capabilities and establish control zones. Begin population processing for labor assessment. Valorian warships appeared over major cities: London, New York, Beijing, Moscow, Tokyo, their massive hulls blocking out the sun. Smaller craft deployed throughout the atmosphere, targeting military installations with precision strikes. Human aircraft that attempted to intercept were swatted from the sky with contemptuous ease. Across the planet, chaos erupted. Some nations launched nuclear missiles in desperation, only to watch them detonate harmlessly against Valorian energy shields. Communications networks were severed, power grids collapsed, and governments lost contact with their forces. In the White House Situation Room, the U.S. President received increasingly dire reports from around the globe. Mr. President, we've lost contact with all forces in the Pacific. The carrier groups they're just gone. European Command reports similar situations. NATO forces are being systematically neutralized. Sir, we're detecting more ships entering the atmosphere, hundreds of them. The President stared at the tactical displays in stunned silence. Humanity's most powerful weapons were proving useless against the invaders. Decades of nuclear standoff, trillions spent on defense, all rendered meaningless in hours. Any response to our broadcasts? He finally asked. None, sir. We've transmitted on all frequencies in all known languages. They're ignoring us. As humanity faced its darkest hour, something unexpected began to happen. In isolated incidents around the globe, humans in the vicinity of Valorian forces reported strange experiences, headaches followed by moments of inexplicable insight, dreamlike visions of cosmic machinery, and in some cases, spontaneous abilities that defied explanation. In a suburban neighborhood outside Chicago, Ellen Chen, a high school physics teacher, stared at the Valorian scout ship hovering over her community. The headache had started an hour ago, building to an almost unbearable pressure. But now, as she looked at the alien craft, she suddenly understood its propulsion system, its shield frequency, its vulnerabilities, as if the knowledge had always been there, just waiting to be accessed. Similar awakenings occurred across the globe. A farmer in Kenya could suddenly perceive the energy signatures of Valorian technology. A Brazilian electrician found himself able to disrupt their communication systems with a thought. A Russian teenager discovered she could render their weapons inert by touching them. Aboard the Dominion, Emperor Valkyries received the first troubling reports. Your Eminence, We've lost contact with Extraction Team 7 in the region called India. Ground forces in the European sector report equipment malfunctions and unexplained energy surges. 3 scout ships over the North American continent have gone silent. The Emperor dismissed these as isolated incidents, mere setbacks in an otherwise successful operation. But High Admiral Thexis noticed a pattern in the failure reports. They all mentioned unusual behavior from the humans immediately before communications were lost. Deep beneath the surface of Earth, invisible to Valorian sensors, ancient machinery that had lain dormant for millions of years began to activate. In hidden chambers under the ocean floors, buried deep within mountain ranges, and scattered across remote deserts, crystalline structures pulsed with growing energy. The warning had been clear: never provoke humanity. The Valorians were about to discover why. The price of arrogance. Dr. Samira Hassan had been working late in her quantum physics lab when the invasion began. As Valorian ships appeared over Cairo, she evacuated with her team to an underground research facility. The migraines began shortly after, blinding pain followed by strange visions, and an intuitive understanding of concepts that had eluded her for years. "It's like a veil being lifted," she explained to her colleagues as they huddled around emergency lighting. "I can see how reality is structured, how it can be manipulated." Similar reports emerged worldwide. Ordinary humans were developing extraordinary abilities, not superpowers from comic books, but profound insights into the fundamental nature of reality. A global network formed spontaneously as awakened humans connected through remaining communication channels, sharing discoveries and coordinating resistance. Valorian ground forces found themselves ambushed by civilians who could predict their movements. Their energy weapons malfunctioned mysteriously. Force fields collapsed without explanation. Extraction equipment shut down, or worse, turned against its operators. High Admiral Thexis paced the command deck of the Dominion, watching with growing horror as red failure indicators spread across the global deployment map. "This is impossible," he muttered. "They're primitives. Their technology is centuries behind ours." "Sir," a communication officer interrupted, "we've intercepted transmissions between the humans. They're changing." "Explain," the Admiral demanded. "It appears the planet itself is activating dormant neural pathways in human brains. They're accessing knowledge they shouldn't possess. Our shield frequencies, propulsion systems, even our language." Thexis felt a cold dread settle in his core. The warnings, they weren't about human weapons. They were about the humans themselves. On Earth, the awakening accelerated. In Antarctica, beneath 3 kilometers of ice, an ancient facility hummed to life. Similar installations activated in the Mariana Trench, the Sahara Desert, and the Amazon Basin. A planetary defense system created millions of years before humans evolved. Dr. Hassan and a growing network of awakened scientists realized the truth. Earth wasn't just a planet. It was a carefully engineered weapon system, and humans were its designated operators. The consciousness of every human on the planet was connected to this planetary defense grid, though the connection had remained dormant until now. In New Delhi, Arjun Mehta, a software developer, discovered he could interface directly with the crystalline nodes emerging from the ground near the Yamuna River. Across the globe, similar interfaces appeared, calling to nearby humans who instinctively understood their purpose. As Valorian dropships descended on Washington, D.C., they faced not a military response, but a city glowing with impossible energy. Civilians stood in the streets, eyes closed in concentration as shimmering barriers of pure energy materialized around vital infrastructure. Emperor Valkyries finally acknowledged the severity of their miscalculation. "Prepare the planet cracker," he ordered. "If we cannot harvest this world, no one will." The Dominion positioned itself for a scorched earth attack, charging its main weapon, a gravitational lance capable of shattering a planet's crust. But as the weapon reached critical charge, the ship suddenly found itself surrounded by dozens of spatial distortions. "Impossible," Thexis whispered as the sensors detected hundreds of small craft materializing around the Valorian fleet. Not human-built ships, but ancient vessels rising from Earth's oceans, emerging from mountain ranges, assembling themselves from nanotechnology hidden in plain sight. On the ground, Ellen Chen stood in her suburban backyard, hands raised toward the sky, acting as one node in a global network of newly awakened humans. Through her consciousness flowed the knowledge of civilizations that had seeded Earth millions of years ago, not as a colony, but as a safeguard against cosmic threats. The humans had never been the indigenous species of Earth. They were the weapon system itself, biological components of a machine spanning the entire planet, designed to remain dormant until needed. Aboard the Dominion, Emperor Valkyrie watched in disbelief as his mighty fleet was systematically dismantled. Ships vanished into spatial rifts or collapsed upon themselves. Communication systems broadcast impossible equations that crashed navigation computers. The planet Cracker weapon backfired catastrophically, creating an implosion that consumed 3 Valorian warships. Full retreat, Valkyrie finally ordered, his imperial pride shattered. Abandon all ground forces, save what ships we can. But retreat proved as difficult as advance. Earth's newly awakened defense system created gravitational anomalies throughout near space, trapping Valorian ships or sending them hurtling into random trajectories. The Dominion itself barely escaped, its hull breached in multiple sections, its crew decimated. As the flagship limped away from the Sol system, Emperor Valkyrie stood before the command view screen, watching the blue-green world recede. "What are they?" he asked, more to himself than to his surviving officers. High Admiral Thexus, his scales dulled with stress and injury, replied solemnly, "Not what, Your Eminence." "Who?" "They are humanity, the guardians of this sector of space, and we have awakened them." In the aftermath, Earth changed irrevocably. The awakening could not be reversed. Humans retained their connection to the planetary defense system and the accumulated knowledge of the civilizations that had created it. Global conflicts ceased as humanity united with a new understanding of their place in the cosmos. Dr. Hassan led an international team studying the ancient technology, learning that Earth had been seeded with protector species many times over its history. Dinosaurs, now extinct, had once been an earlier iteration of planetary guardians. Humans were simply the latest and most successful version, designed to appear harmless until threatened, at which point they would access their full potential. The ancient warning beacons throughout nearby space activated once more, their message updated and amplified. The guardians of the third planet are awakened. Do not approach Earth space. Humanity is vigilant. In the diplomatic chambers of the Galactic Concord, thousands of light years away, representatives of spacefaring civilizations receive reports of the Valorian defeat with growing concern. "The humans have joined the cosmic stage far earlier than predicted," noted the Xerillian ambassador, their crystalline form shimmering with unease. "The containment protocol has failed," agreed the Nephilim representative. "We must establish diplomatic contact before they expand beyond their system." "No," countered the ancient Archon observer, whose species had witnessed the rise and fall of countless civilizations. Earth was established as a safeguard for a reason. Humanity was designed to protect that sector from threats we can no longer confront ourselves. Their premature awakening is unfortunate, but not catastrophic. "And the Valorians?" asked the Xerillian. The Archon's multifaceted eyes dimmed slightly. "A necessary sacrifice. Their empire threatened stability in 3 sectors. Now they will serve as a warning to others who might ignore the beacons." On the edge of Valorian space, the battered Dominion arrived at an Imperial outpost, carrying news of unprecedented defeat. Emperor Valkyrie, his authority shattered along with his fleet, faced growing unrest among his subject worlds. As reports of the failed Earth invasion spread, long-subjugated species saw an opportunity for rebellion. The once mighty Valoran Empire began to fracture, its military stretched too thin after the catastrophic losses in the Sol system. On Earth, humans looked to the stars with new understanding. They were not alone in the universe, and they were not helpless. They were guardians, purpose-built protectors of their corner of the galaxy. The knowledge brought not just power, but responsibility. As Ellen Chen stood in her backyard, gazing at the night sky, she felt the weight of that responsibility. Through her awakened consciousness, she sensed other threats lurking in the darkness between stars, ancient enemies that had necessitated Earth's creation as a fortress world. "We'll be ready," she whispered to the cosmos. "When they come, we'll be ready." Across the planet, millions of awakened humans heard her thought and responded in silent affirmation. Earth's defenders were vigilant. The universe's one rule remained: never provoke humanity. For those who ignored this warning, as the Valorians had learned, the consequences were devastating. The rule existed not as a threat, but as a mercy to those who might otherwise face humanity's full power. The cosmos had been given its final warning.